Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm talking to new guest Erica Kauffman about John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Erica is the owner and lead artist of Atomic Cotton. Welcome to the show, Erica.
Hello, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, great to have you. We were just talking off air. It's been a few years, but we once boothed together or booth next to each other
Presented
at
next to each other.
yeah at a horror hound. I used to work for a business that sold mostly Funko Pops and stuff. And your Atomic Cotton sells t-shirts and stickers and cool stuff like that. So I loved your booth. I ended up buying a shirt from you. I don't know where it went. I don't seem to have it anymore. Um,
I think
but
did I buy a print from you of the artwork from The Shining, Scatman Crothers art?
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
The Afro girl.
yeah, the owner of the company I used to work for, he was friends with the guy who I was vending with, and that
Right.
guy was an artist who had that artwork. Yeah. So yeah, so it's yeah, it
It's
was
all
pretty
back to me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty fun weekend. I had a good time, and you and your partner were great
Yeah.
to be next to and talk with all weekend long. So it was a really fun weekend. Um, and
Good,
say what?
good memories.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's
So
nice when you have a good one next to you at a convention. It makes the whole experience a lot more fun.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I mean, sometimes like I've vended at quite a few conventions during my time with that job, and sometimes you would get like I never had anybody necessarily bad next to me, but you would get people who were just either standoffish or just did their own thing and didn't care or whatever like that. But
Yeah.
it was real nice to have somebody like you guys next to us just to
I appreciate
have
that.
fun and joke with, and
Yeah.
I felt like we had a really good time and everything. So,
Great.
and I got, you gave me a bunch of stickers and stuff like that that I still
That's
have.
my love language. Trading
Yeah,
is absolutely how I tell people that I like
yeah.
them.
My laptop sports your Ash
Nice.
sticker here.
And that Elvira is mine too, I think.
uh, you had one similar. I did have it on
Oh
something
yeah, yeah,
else.
yeah.
This
No,
one is that one's from Cavity Colors, but
right.
yeah,
Mine's
uh,
metallic.
yeah. Yours was like the holographic metallic-y kind of one. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. I had that one and I stuck it on. Oh, you know what? I stuck that one on a tablet sleeve that I no longer have that tablet. So, which I've always that's part of the reason why I hate sticking stickers on things because I'm
I
like,
stick on my door,
yeah,
so
see,
they're
that
just
makes
there.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll last a lot longer. So, um, but yeah, no, so that was a really fun time, and I'm glad you wanted to jump on the podcast for
Absolutely.
an episode.
I'm a
Um,
giant John Carpenter fan,
oh
so
yeah,
the second I saw that there was Carpenter movies, I was just like, yes, I'm in.
definitely, definitely. So, all right. Well, like I said, we're talking about Escape from New York, which was very early Carpenter, the second movie that he did with Kurt Russell. And this was Kurt Russell's kind of attempt to shake off his Disney past in a way, like a lot of former Disney actors and singers and stuff like that. They always like to do something a little more adult, and this
I
was
would
Kurt Russell's chance at that. And
I would
uh,
say it's one of his most iconic characters of all time.
oh yeah, no, and I think it's the moment that Kurt Russell really solidified who he was and who
Yeah,
he became, and his work with John Carpenter
it's phenomenal.
really, yeah, and it really set the tone for the rest of what Kurt Russell did with the rest of his life in terms of his
Yeah.
acting and stuff like that. So, but yeah, tell me a little bit about your thoughts, just kind of generally on Escape from New York. When did you first see it, and that kind of stuff.
So a lot of my early movie viewing was with my dad, and I'm positive I watched this with my dad because that was just like what we did.
Yeah,
And but my most memorable viewing of it is with my husband. And it was really early on in our relationship. And like one of the first things that we did when we were dating was I would bring over movies that he hadn't seen and we would watch them together. And this was one of the movies that I brought over. And so it was in the part of our relationship where all we really did was just make out as hard as we so we
Right.
just making out hard to this movie. And then there's a line when he's talking to Harry Dean Stanton and he has Adrienne Barbeau and he's like holding her hostage and he says, "Don't make me beat it out of your squeeze." Right when he said that line, we both just started cracking up. So that's probably like my most memorable viewing of it because it was such a good line and it just kind of stuck in there. Um, but I just everything Carpenter has made film-wise has had an effect on me in some way. And like I would say I'm more personally a fan of Escape from LA, but New York is amazing. It has so many cool characters. It really set the style of like the tone of a lot of his movies. The music is
Yeah.
amazing, the coloring, the lighting, the shots, the wardrobe, like everything about it, because it's like this island has just been, like there's tribes of people there that have been sent there to be prisoners, and so they're like all these little weird different gangs and all their different outfits and styles and what they do and like where they're located. It's just really cool. Like I think it's a really cool commentary on um where society is headed
Yeah.
and like what could go wrong
Yeah.
if
Right.
power was in the wrong hands. And so yeah. I think it's wild that he made it in 88 and it was set in the future, which was 1997.
Right.
When he made LA, I want to say it was around 97, 98, and it was set in 2013.
Right.
So we've like surpassed both of those timelines in Carpenter verse.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's an interesting movie too because it's basically a post-apocalyptic America in a way,
Yeah.
because it is post World War III. All of the criminals are now being sent to Manhattan Island, where they've created just this prison colony, and that they just let people live
Like they
there.
survive in their way. Like they just make
Yeah,
their way.
they just, I guess, throw food in there once in a while and let them,
They show fields. They
fight
show
for it.
people working in fields, like growing crops.
Yeah,
It's just like this weird little community world of criminals. And
yeah,
they like Brain, the Harry Dean Stanton character, he's like the gasoline guy.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
gas, they go to him. And yeah,
And the
it's
Duke who runs
Duke,
the whole thing.
a
Yeah,
number one Duke.
and yeah,
Fucking Isaac Hayes. Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Come on. The actors in his films are always iconic actors. Like
yeah.
all the character actors that he uses over the years are just so fucking good. And I think after a while, when you watch all of Carpenter's movies, you start to feel like familiar with the people in them because you've seen them in so many movies. And I think it just is another way that I've like connected to it because you
Yeah,
can watch all these different characters and actors develop their skill in like a library of movies because he's
yeah,
made so many movies with so many of the same people. So yeah,
yeah.
it's really cool, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's awesome, especially just because I love directors who will use the same actors over and over again, and will kind of shuffle them around, and
Right.
maybe not use the movie to movie, but we'll be like, okay, well, next, like, because Harry Dean Stanton, I don't think shows up again until Christine a couple years later, even though um, Kurt Russell's literally in the thing the next year, and but this also has like Adrienne Barbeau, who'd been in The Fog previous to this.
About Tom
And
Atkins. He was in
Tom Atkins, yeah, was in The Fog previous to this. Yeah, so there's a lot of the same players that he has throughout his history of making movies, and that will go on to continue doing stuff, as well as just people who tend to pop in and out, like just the
right.
one-off people um like Isaac Hayes, who doesn't ever show up in another movie of his again, or whatever. And so it is really a lot of fun to get these casts and to have these kind of people come back in and forth. It's that's what I like about watching like Tarantino or Kevin Smith
Yeah,
movies or
yeah,
something like that. Just these people who like to pop back and out of these things, and just and people been like directors have been doing this for decades.
right.
So I mean, it's nothing new. But it's
It's a
always
really,
great.
it's a good vibe though. Like it's a good crew.
Yeah, and you appreciate it when the filmmaker does that because you know that they're doing it with people they love to have around, and that
They,
the crew is like
they
somebody they're
feel can
very
like
loyal and stuff.
communicate the vibe
Yeah,
of whatever the project is, and yeah, totally.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, so I really think this is cool. Like you were saying about like how it the prison was created in 88, and by the time of the movie it's supposed to be 1997.
Yeah,
And so this and it's so funny too because I was thinking about it because obviously this movie is very 80s, and that you would expect that it's always so funny when things in the 80s were always like, oh, in the future it's going to look like this, but it looks like
like
so
real
very
digital and everything. All the
well.
fonts are really sharp. Like
Well,
everything.
and
You
not
can't.
just that, but just like the outfits and stuff like that people are still wearing are very 80s for that
Yeah,
time period. It's like now, like we don't wear stuff like that. Fashion changed enough that, we got out of that 80s kind of
I
zone.
still wear stuff like that. My whole
I mean,
life is based on
lots of
stuff.
people do. Lots of people
Yeah,
do still. 80s fashion has come back around a bit. But I think it's funny though, too, because you can make the argument that because they closed off in the 80s because of that World War III or whatever like that, of
right.
course they're going to have fashions that look exactly like they were
That's
in the
what they
80s, but they
had.
haven't
That's
been
what
able
they
to,
have.
yeah, they haven't been able to
The
adjust.
remnants.
Yeah. So but yeah, I love that they managed to do this. Apparently one of the interesting little factoids that I was able to hear about this was that one of um the scene when they're on Ellis Island is actually like one of the few times they had ever opened up filming at that point on
Wow.
actually Ellis Island. So they were able to do that. And it was really cool. I was like, wow, that's really interesting that they
They've
were
been
able
to
to
a
do that.
prison, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Like
then
the processing area.
well, and then New York itself was actually the island of Manhattan was mostly actually filmed in St. Louis. Um,
Nice.
so because obviously they had to film it somewhere other than New York.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really can't tell. I mean, they do a good enough job at like mimicking um New York
The
that
crazy thing is seeing the Twin Towers so
yeah.
utilized in the movie when he lands his glider on the Twin Towers. It's
Yeah.
it's it's crazy to see them and just how
Yeah.
different the skyline is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um but it's I don't know, this movie's really interesting because it's like um it's his first sci-fi since his very first movie Dark Star. So it's and I think it's funny too because everybody talks about John Carpenter as being this horror guy, and he absolutely is. But he's never been just the horror guy. He's
Right.
always had his hand both in horror and in sci-fi almost equally, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
yeah, with
They
Escape
live
from New York, They Live, Starman, um, Big
Big
Trouble
Trouble.
in Little
I
China. It's more sci-fi to me than it is horror.
almost fantasy in a way.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's what I love about it. And Ghost of Mars itself is like straddles both of them equally as
I
both
love
sci-fi
Ghost of
and horror.
Mars. I love Ghost of Mars so much. I just watched it last week.
That's too funny. But yeah, so I think it's funny that he is this master of horror, but he's also so firmly in sci-fi that and people just I don't think people necessarily dismiss it, but I think it's one of those things where um people because he's so known for horror they just kind of lump it all into
Yeah,
the horror. So because I just Escape from New York is no horror at all. Like it's just to me it's not horror.
it's
There's
like
nothing.
action sci-fi.
It's action sci-fi
Yeah,
completely. And I think it really kind of set the tone for a lot of the 80s too. I mean, this came out in 1981. It sets the tone for a lot of it helped with this and the Mad Max series. It kind of sets the tone for post-apocalyptic movies
yeah. It
going
makes me think of the
forward.
one with Ray Liotta, where he's like, it's a prison island, I can't think of the name of the movie.
Oh
Lance
yeah.
Henriksen's in it, and yeah, what's the name of that? Anyway, it's like a prison island movie, very like Lord of the Flies vibe, and
Yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I know somebody in my audience is probably yelling right now, like, I know
Yeah,
this movie.
sorry guys, I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I can't remember either. And I'm currently trying to look it up. Um, but when did that come out? Because
It's I want to say that was really early 90s.
yeah, I'm not. No Escape,
Matt
maybe?
Dillon's in it.
No, no. Oh yeah, No Escape. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Ray Liotta, Lance Henriksen,
Ernie
Kevin Dillon,
Hudson.
Ernie
Is Ernie
Hudson. Yep,
Hudson?
yep. Look at you.
Yeah, I know my
You know your
sci-fi.
trash movies.
I can't think of the name though, but I got there.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I think that it just those really helped kind of propel like this movie in addition. And Snake Plissken is just like such a great iconic character
he's
too.
such a good character.
Um
Everything about him is good. He's so cowboy, sexy cowboy, bad boy. Like
yeah.
like the music when it's all like
Uh
Western, he shows
yeah.
up and like harmonica kicks in. It's like fun. It's perfect with
Yeah.
his eye patch and his hair, his flowy hair.
Which apparently the eye patch was a last minute Kurt Russell addition. He came into the set with it and
Love that.
John Carpenter was like, yeah, let's do it. That looks good. But apparently he had to take it off quite often, like, especially between
It
takes
fucks you up
because it
after a
messed with his
while.
depth perception. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, no, just the character Snake Plissken is so simple.
Call me
And
Snake.
huh?
He says, call me Snake.
Yeah, yeah.
Call me Snake all the time.
Um, and I think it's funny too because everybody's always like, "I thought you were dead" the whole time. And but yeah, no, it's so funny. It is such a it's a great iconic character and played so well. I mean, he's apparently he was just basically kind of imitating uh, uh, Clint Eastwood the whole time.
Yeah. He just
Just
kind
that.
of like walks through it. Like
Oh yeah,
he just like saunters into it and
got
does this.
no urgency. I mean, he does have urgency. He's trying to get it all done as quickly as
It's
possible,
slick.
but he's
Every move that he does is like slick and just perfect. And
yeah.
yeah, it's great. He's great. I love it.
It's so funny too because like so I like his son Wyatt Russell, who's been in a lot of stuff that I've enjoyed as
Yes, I
well.
do too. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and so they're both on the show Monarch together on
We
Apple
watched
TV.
that.
I love that show. I haven't seen the latest episode yet. I need
I'm
to.
like two behind.
Yeah, I'm just the one behind, thankfully. But I definitely need to watch that. But he um they're both in the show, and there's a moment in the show where they kind of superimpose their faces, and I've never thought Wyatt looked that much like Kurt until I
Yeah,
saw that superimposition,
yeah,
and then but rewatching Escape from New York last night, literally, I was like, oh, like I could totally see this now because Kurt
yeah.
was 29 at the time he made this movie.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, yeah, I was surprised too. And then Wyatt's in his 30s, maybe even in his 40s now.
Wow.
Um, and he so people have been trying to get Wyatt to be like to do a what's it called? A remake of this for
I'd watch it.
yeah, I would too. But
He's
Wyatt
he's
meanwhile is just like I'm older than my dad was at this point. Yeah, he's
Yep.
currently 39 now. So he's like 10 years older. So even if he did do it, it'd be kind of an odd um situation. But
But you know, movie magic, man. You
oh
can make
yeah,
it.
definitely. Well, and I think honestly 39 today looks about as young as 29 did back in the 80s.
Yep.
So it really I don't think there would be a problem if he did want to do that. I don't think he wants to. I mean, I don't think Escape from New York needs to be remade. I
No,
said on another episode that I don't think any of John Carpenter's movies need to be remade ever.
no.
The couple that have been remade, like The Fog and Assault on Precinct 13, and even Halloween, have basically just been they're
Yeah.
okay, but
Yeah.
they don't compare to the originals.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that John Carpenter's movies just kind of transcend the
There's a
era.
rawness about them.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack always plays a
Oh
really
yeah.
big part, I think.
Well, and
And
there's a timelessness about them too. There's
yeah,
always something in them that speaks to not just, and sadly, not just the time that it was, but to the current time as well.
yep.
So, um, but yeah, I think that it just, this movie itself. I mean, I think it's interesting too because I could say, back in 1981, America, the crime rate was really high. In the 80s, it was really
Yeah.
bad. So
Yeah.
I can
Crack.
see, yeah, and I can see the movie like this being so um of its time, whereas today I don't think it could be made, but I don't think it would have as relevance because the crime rate is actually down in America. It's
Yeah.
come down, it's come very far down compared to what it was like in the 80s. And people are, it's so weird too because people think there's this, like there's so much crime and craziness going on in our country right now. And it's like, people, you don't realize how bad it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
The 80s were so freaking weird, man. It's the
I was
most,
always afraid of being kidnapped. There was lots of kidnapping in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's I was just talking to somebody too about this, and I mentioned it before on the show. Is that we've had like 80s kids, we had all these existential fears in our lives about things that were actually happening.
Yeah.
But we were so scared because we had the constant threat of nuclear Armageddon over our heads. And don't get me wrong, people from the 60s on had that thing,
Right.
but it felt really, I don't know, really a lot more relevant in the 80s. And then we had it, the 80s were the height of child abductions and serial killers.
Mhm.
We had, because I mean, all the kids on the milk cartons and everything else, like
We
that was
were
all,
feral. Like our parents
yeah.
were working nonstop. Nobody was watching us, so we were
And
just
that's what was crazy is we lived during that time period and our parents still didn't care enough to like let us be inside or to like know where we were at all times. And
I would just listen for my dad could whistle really loud. I could hear him like 4 miles away.
ugh,
So as long as I just would listen for his whistle, I knew when to go home. But I
that's
would be like
crazy.
in a ditch somewhere, like literally a ditch, smoking cigarettes, you know.
Yeah. We did
Dad,
some wild shit back then, and
I was
because we were
crazy
just
babies.
eh, I didn't do anything bad. I just hung out with friends and we just, rode our bikes and shit and everything like that.
Yeah, I did that
Um,
too. But like, I always wanted, I think it was because of a lot of what I watched. Like, I wanted to be a tough guy, like a Kurt Russell tough guy
yeah,
as a kid. And so I sort of like emulated that behavior with in like play,
that's too
when I was
funny.
a child. So I was always like
Yeah.
a tough guy. So I think that's another reason I really like this movie. I really like thematic, like Mad Max, post-apocalyptic, where there's a lone tough guy and he has to fight the establishment somehow, you
Yeah.
know and he can't rely on anybody but himself or and his dog, you know. It's just,
Right.
when am I going to get that chance?
I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable doing what I'm doing now. So
Yeah, pretty
I mean,
much.
I'm glad we made it out of the 80s because there's a lot of kids who didn't make it out of the
Yeah,
80s,
for
unfortunately.
sure.
But those of us who did, we can look back on it fondly and with a sense of awareness that, man, like just it's crazy how we made it out. But like that's the thing, like just like I was saying, like the crime rate was high, drugs were at an all-time high. Like, don't get me wrong, fentanyl and opioids and everything else is still out there and it's really bad and everything like that. But like, I don't know, it just seemed like so much worse in the 80s. And then we had the
I
AIDS
think it's just, I
crisis.
don't know if it's worse or it's just like transformed into different things
Yeah, yeah,
because people have just adapted to different weird behaviors.
yeah,
And,
definitely.
I think it's still as bad and things are as weird, but a lot of it is behind closed doors now or something.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say like definitely
People
the
have much more access to it.
yeah. and then just speaking of the like the violent crimes and stuff like that that we had to deal with. I mean, New York in the 80s was a scary fucking place,
Yeah.
so it's like in New York today can still be scary, but from
But
what
it
I
did turn
understand,
into a prison.
yeah, but it's definitely not that way anymore. And so I think that, there's a lot of it that got cleaned up and a lot of it that changed over time. And I think that's a good thing. I
Yeah.
think I know there's a lot of people who kind of miss that griminess and that dangerousness to it. But I'm sure a lot of people who live in New York are very happy not to fear for
Right.
their lives
Yeah.
constantly.
Like, I'm a
So,
really big fan of the movie Cruising.
oh yeah, yeah.
That's
I've heard of that.
a New York, a New York subculture that isn't around as much
Yeah.
as it is anymore because like instead of it being like a district where you could go and there was like 40 bars of just like seedy nightlife, like that's not New York anymore.
Yeah, yeah, for
Unfortunately.
good or bad. Like, and I get it. Like, I get that there's people out there who would really like for that to go back to that because
Have
that's
their
an attract.
community.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but um, but yeah. So it's definitely interesting to go back and watch movies like this and kind of get that sense of things, like you said, with cruising and stuff like that. That there's interesting movies to go back and see what the era was like and to
Right,
see.
little time capsules.
Yeah. So I love being able to go back and watch movies like this. Um, uh, but this one, like, it's so funny too, because like, I mean, I don't like doing plot synopsis or anything like that, but like for the most part, it's an interesting movie about the president getting stuck, like Air Force One gets hijacked and then gets dropped into New York.
In a
Um,
little pod. He jumps in
yeah,
a little escape
he
pod,
jumps in a little safety pod and
like a
manages
little
to,
Superman egg.
yeah. And then so then he's caught by the people of New York, and then they are uh
Holding ransom, basically.
holding him for ransom, and in 24 hours, if they don't get what they want, they're gonna kill him. And that's why they gotta get somebody like Snake Plissken in there to go get him because he's expendable, and you know but they know he's actually good at what he does too.
Yeah,
So
he has the skill set that they need to infiltrate
yeah.
the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, and for the most part, I mean, he ends up walking around that place for a good little while, and
Yeah,
nobody even turns a blind eye towards him.
yeah.
They're just like, yeah,
No one
whatever.
fucks with him.
So yeah,
He just
so
walks through places and like really like a handful of characters interact with him. But yeah,
yeah,
it's not.
yeah, it's a fun movie. It's very, I will say, it's a very light movie.
Yeah,
It's not a very heavy. It's not heavy-handed in its messaging, or it's not super bogged down in a lot of exposition or anything like that. It's very
no,
like literally what I said. He's got to go in and get the president. He
yeah,
encounters a bunch of random, post-apocalyptic criminal people, and that's pretty much it.
yeah. The
Uh,
wardrobe, I think, plays a giant part,
yeah, yeah,
and like the dilapidation of the city, like all the
yes,
graffiti and all the like the way that the people have adapted to their little special areas. There's a lot of like man-made barricades
yeah,
and all sorts of like crazy stuff everywhere. I think that really is done extremely well in this
yeah.
movie. One of the first characters that you meet when you get into the city is the real skinny Weasley guy that kind of
Yeah.
looks like Buscemi with the hair that's
He looks
shooting.
like a mix between Buscemi and Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and he's real like vampiric and twitchy, and
yeah,
he has the president's finger.
yeah.
That really sets the tone
Oh
for what
yeah,
you're gonna encounter. And they talk about how there's people in the subways that have like taken over, like don't go anywhere near the subway because people are gonna get you. And at one point, he finds this woman, and they're like, she's like, "Take me with you, Snake." And all of a sudden, hands burst through the floor and
yeah.
just pull this lady away, and like 30 hands start coming through the floor, and all these people start banging on the walls, and Snake just like runs away and it's fine. But like that lady got dragged away by these like
Yeah.
sewer people to like, you know, be a womb or something. Like it's
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that woman too is that was played by Susan Hubley, who was Kurt Russell's wife at the time.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so Kurt Russell's wife was that character, and then Adrienne Barbeau, who's the major character in this, she was,
Maggie.
yeah, she was Carpenter's wife at the time. So, it was a definitely a kind of a family vibe, family set
I've
going on there.
I've been lucky enough to meet Adrienne Barbeau a handful of times because of conventions and
Yeah.
whatnot. And she is just a beautiful, delightful woman to meet, and just so beautiful and sweet and kind, like you would imagine, and very open and very
Yeah.
cool for fans. So if you ever get a chance to meet Adrienne Barbeau and talk to her about something, I would say take it
Oh
because she's
yeah.
really
I've heard that about her. I've never met her directly. I think I've seen her in passing at a couple of conventions.
yeah.
But
She
yeah,
looks beautiful.
she
She just
really does. She
has
still
such a
looks
like
so great. Yeah.
beautiful exotic beauty, and like there
Yes.
weren't a lot of like darker brunette beautiful women in the 80s, and
Yeah.
I'm a brunette, and I'm like kind of a duskier tone of a face, and to see just that type of representation in movies I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
um Girl growing up, like to see someone like Adrienne Barbeau like holding her own, like she's one of the last characters, and how
She is.
she literally gets run down by a car.
She
She's like
does.
just shooting straight at it and just stands there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing. I'm a really big fan of her, and I think that she was one of the people, and I've told her this, that like watching her movies definitely like played an impact on how I like carried myself as a female out in the world,
Yeah.
because I knew that I could be like strong and like part of the gang and useful, and like I don't know. I think that's really cool to have in movies, and to have had that as a kid,
Oh yeah.
a pretty rad thing.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Like even growing up, like I would see her in stuff like this or like Swamp Thing or
Yeah.
something else. And I always just she always
I love
radiated,
her in Creepshow.
yeah. She's always radiated this like really good strength about her. And
Strong
especially in an era of where like and not to say that they weren't, but women were still
damsels.
damsels a lot of times. And so it was really nice to see somebody like her kind of being the vanguard of that, of being the tough woman who
Yeah.
was, but like, and not in the way that like they became, where they almost became mannish, kind of like in a way like Ellen
Oh
Ripley
no, she is not
and
mannish. She's
no,
all
she is, yeah,
awful.
because like she wears a lot of low cut stuff, especially in this movie, but in other
Shirts.
movies as well. She's always wearing like stuff that very well enhances
I've
her.
always dubbed her Adrienne Bubo because
Yeah.
she's very curvaceous and beautiful and is just
But she's a
comfortable.
take no shit lady, and I
Yeah,
love that about her.
yeah.
And so,
But another one that Carpenter has a lot that I want to mention is Pam Grier.
oh
Um,
yes,
she is an ultimate badass,
oh,
and
Pam Grier is one of my
like
favorites of all time.
the movies that she's made with him, she's in Escape from LA, which is the
Yep.
sequel to Escape from New York, which I am more a fan of.
Yeah.
She plays a transsexual gangster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
No, and I think that's what's always nice about Carpenter too, is that even from his earliest works and stuff, you can see that he's got a progressiveness to his women,
Yeah, for sure.
especially, and to a lot of his a lot of what he talks about too in his movies is always, have always been very progressive. You look at something like They Live, which I
Yeah,
will talk about in another episode, but even in this movie, just the women are just very powerful, very um, characters in their own right. Even though, yes, of course, she was given to the brain and
yeah,
everything
she
like
was
that.
like his squeeze.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
but
there for your squeeze.
yeah, but I love that it's just like she's still a take no shit lady. And I just she's I love that that's what Carpenter allows in these movies, is just that.
That's his wife, That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's really good too because Carpenter had Deborah Hill in the beginning. He was always like, he always appreciated the woman's perspective. And in fact, like I mentioned in my Halloween episode, was that a lot of the women's dialogue in Halloween was actually written by Deborah Hill. So he like so that there would be an authenticity to it that he couldn't bring to it. And so I love that there is that in his work, that he trusts the women around him to bring what they're going to bring to their
Yeah,
characters as well. and allows for that collaboration. And that's the sign of a true filmmaker,
Yeah,
is just that collaboration. Um,
there's a lot of trust in that.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, especially like, and I think that's, Carpenter's always kind of been on the back foot of his career. All of his movies have always been kind of like, there's been some hits. He's had some hits because Christine did well,
Definitely.
and Starman did well and stuff. And
Big
his
Trouble in China.
but Big Trouble in Little China didn't do well, and neither did The Thing. Those are movies that became cult films
Yeah, they
later.
have, yeah, they do have just a
So
huge following.
yeah, and so that we look at him now with this later lens of, oh my god, he's this genius and everything, but like at the time he was so underappreciated. But like I've said on other episodes too, he has a 10-year run from 1978 to 1988, Halloween to They Live, that is unmatched. Every movie that he made between that time period is a fucking banger,
Yeah,
and nobody can take that away. And just, even though at the time a lot of those movies didn't do well, and so it's looking back on that stuff where you go, man, they missed it. And so, but it's just like, I think that's what was great, is that Carpenter has never seemed to be a guy who had that shitty director ego. Um,
yeah,
and even listening to him today and everything, he hates people like that. You listen to the interviews he's done, even in the 80s, he was bagging on the fucking, like, very pretentious auteur directors and stuff like that.
yeah,
He's just like,
yeah,
these guys suck. It's like, I love that. I love a guy who's just making movies to make it for entertainment and to have
yeah,
fun,
for
and
sure.
still saying something, which is crazy
There's
too.
always the commentary with his movies.
Yeah. And so I love that, because that's the perfect mixture of movie making, is when you can have a fun popcorn movie that still says something to the
Yeah,
audience as well. That's not just something that's trying to beat you over the head with something. I mean, because They Live, I gotta, they Live is my favorite Carpenter.
yeah.
And so, I don't want to say it too much because of
That
I
one
do have
coming
an
up.
episode, yeah. But They Live is so full of political commentary that was relevant to the 80s and is relevant now. And that, but at the same time, while it's doing that, it's still not beating you over the head with it. There's still an entertaining alien invasion story in there.
Yeah,
And that's the same with this movie. This movie's all about the prison industrial complex, the police state, um,
the hierarchy of society
the
and like,
hierarchy of society, how we treat our citizens,
yeah,
just so much that was going on, that's been going on for decades, that's still going on today.
big time.
It's still so relevant, that it's so funny just to watch this movie, and to see that kind of stuff, and just to see just how ahead of the time and of the time he has always been.
Yeah.
Um,
My favorite Carpenter is Prince of Darkness.
oh
And I think that that is another one that just on the whole, like cosmic horror, religious side of things,
yeah,
it brings it. It opened a lot of ideas up to me in my brain, and
yeah,
like led me down like a Lovecraft path. And
oh yeah,
his his story, the way that he tells stories is it's timeless, I think.
oh,
And
so much so, yeah.
like and I know I've said it a couple of times, but the fucking soundtracks, man. John Carpenter is the cool one of the coolest musicians,
Oh
and
yeah.
like there it's a heartbeat. If you watch his movies, there's
Oh man.
always like a dun 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 dun, like
Yep.
just leading you through the movie. And I don't know, I've always found it just really affects you and takes you on the ride of the movie. And like I love that there's companies now that are releasing all of these soundtracks. I just got In the Mouth of Madness on vinyl um,
Nice.
like a month or two ago. I haven't listened to it yet, but just like I love a Carpenter soundtrack. Like I love
Yeah.
doing my laundry to a Carpenter soundtrack. It just it's such a like it just sets the vibe of
Yeah.
the tone of what the evening's gonna be.
Oh yeah. No, he has, like, when he does the soundtracks, because he doesn't always do his own soundtracks for his movies, but he does most of them.
Right.
But when he does do it, it is so next tier, like,
Yeah.
and they're, because they're both like, just so iconic, but also so simple too. And I think that's what makes a great soundtrack is when you can have that where it's you don't even like there's times where you do notice it and he makes sure you notices it, but there's the other times where it's just kind of laying there, like you said, where it's the heartbeat of
Yeah.
the whole vibe of it rather than just being this over the top thing. And
I think with sorry,
no, go
I
ahead.
want New York, it has more of a Western. There's a
It's a
Western tone.
very laid back vibe too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when whenever Snake shows up and his music plays is very iconic and like I don't know, and he uses the same soundtrack, the opening for Escape from LA, but just changes it a little tiny bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I really I think I kind of lost my point, but it's so integral to everything. Yeah.
Apparently, this is the first of the collaborations that he did with Alan Howarth as well. And they would go on to do soundtracks together throughout the rest of the time. They would uh, work together throughout the 80s and 90s. Um, so
He does stuff with his son now too, I think.
so what?
Carpenter. I think he's in a does music stuff with his son now too. I
Oh
think
yeah,
they've
Carpenter does is his music he does with his son and his godson.
cool.
Now, yeah. So yeah, so they I think it's his son and godson. I say that and I don't know, but yeah, they definitely do music together, and they've done soundtracks. They did the whole most recent Halloween trilogy soundtrack together, which I love. And that's what instead of doing movies now, Carpenter just focuses on his music and his leisure time, which I
Yeah.
don't blame him. He had
Oh,
such a
he's
long
done
career.
a great job.
Yeah, he had a long career, and in that career he was so underappreciated that he's just like, I just not worth it to me to go out there, put a movie out there, and to have people go and
Yeah,
then be told later on it was a masterpiece, because then
yeah.
because I mean that would get so tiring. um but yeah, and again, this one is one of those ones that I think, let me see, it ended up grossing $50 million, so it wasn't a bomb. But I
Right.
don't think, and again, it was
Wasn't a big
80
hit.
81, but it wasn't a huge hit. They had generally positive
I think it might
reviews.
have been a little too cerebral for some people, like a little
Yeah,
dark and spooky and too like complex of some stuff for some people.
yeah.
It's a really violent movie. Like
Oh
there's a lot
yeah,
of violence and like gunplay and stuff.
yeah. Violent for the time. Definitely
Right,
not violent compared to things today.
for sure.
But violent for 1981.
I mentioned the fight scene with Ox Baker. That
Yeah,
he has to battle Ox to get to the next level, and he does. And it's pretty insane.
yeah, no, there's a lot of, like I said, it's very quickly. It's like a little over an hour and a half. It's very swiftly paced. He kind of just goes through the areas pretty quickly. It's kind of almost like, in a lot of ways, it's very video game-esque.
Yeah,
um which
levels. There's
is
different bosses and stuff.
Yeah, which is very interesting because Hideo Kojima copied aspects of this film for his Metal Gear video game series, including calling his main character Solid Snake. So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, so it's one of the interesting pieces of trivia that came out of this, as well as cyberpunk pioneer William Gibson uh,
Oh,
credits
yeah.
the credits this film as an influence on his novel Neuromancer.
That's cool as
Um,
fuck.
yeah, yeah. Again, these Carpenter's just like right there at the forefront of so many interesting things, like just influencing so many people, just like he was influenced by Howard Hawks and westerns and stuff. He's just, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's just loves like, in a way, Carpenter is like, people know of the synthwave music stuff that's going on. Carpenter basically originated that with his
Yeah.
music. Everybody
Yeah.
who's doing synthwave these days is kind of just going, I want to make music like Carpenter did. And
Exactly.
so,
He's
so
he's a pioneer. He's iconic. I think,
yeah,
and his storytelling abilities are timeless. And And also the cast, like he's very good at casting his movies.
Oh yeah.
The writing is great. Like, and the thing is, his like over your work, like his whole entire career, there's something that you can find for everyone.
Oh
There's
yeah.
there's so many different weird topics and different like niche things that you can be like, oh, you're into weird like body horror. Here's the thing. Oh,
Yeah.
and Lovecraft. Well, here's in the Mouth of Madness. There's just like you can find something for
Yeah.
everyone. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. I
If you
think I've
want,
had fun introducing people to Carpenter by trying to figure out which Carpenter movie they'll like the best.
yeah. Yeah. Are
And
you a Stephen King fan? There's Christine. If you
exactly,
you like aliens, you got either good aliens in Starman or bad
yeah,
aliens in The Thing or They Live.
yep,
So, so you got this great mix of like all kinds of you want weird mysticism, Big
right.
Trouble in
Here's
Little
Big Trouble
China.
in Little China.
So I mean, there's something for everybody with Carpenter for sure. It gets a little bit dicier in the 90s for sure, but
Ghost of Mars, Village of the Damned.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah. Vampires, yeah. It's
Oh
still
God, yes. God,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. He gets a little shaky in the 90s, not gonna lie. But he's still having fun, and I think that, still for the most part, I think most people consider those, classics in their own ways.
I love Ghost of Mars. I think I well,
I
I'm
need
an
to
Ice
watch it
Cube
more.
fan. I'm a really big Ice Cube fan, and I'm a really big Pam Grier fan.
Oh, I love Pam Grier.
And I love like Clea Duvall is in that, and
Yeah.
Jason
That-
Statham's in it,
yeah,
and
Statham and
it's
Natasha
very
Henstridge,
like
I think. Yeah.
so and Natasha Henstridge, yeah,
Yeah.
very of its time with the
Oh,
cat,
yeah.
and the dialogue is phenomenal because they're
Yeah.
trying to get like slang, like weird Mars slang,
Yeah. Yeah.
like cop slang. It's just so it doesn't really hit. But then Ice Cube's there, and he just is amazing.
Yeah.
The aliens in that are weird as fuck. They like cut their faces and put metal stakes through like they decorate themselves with barbed wire and stuff. Like
Yeah.
amazing.
It's such a weird movie.
You
Yeah.
should watch it again. Watch it again. It's on
Oh, I
Tubi.
definitely am. Yeah. I have it on Blu-ray, so I have everything Carpenter on Blu-ray. So
Good
I
job.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. He's one of my favorite directors. So um
I could talk about John Carpenter for a very long time.
well, one of the other little pieces of trivia that I found that I feel is interesting is on the poster of for this movie. There's the Statue of Liberty head that's just in the
Yep.
streets of New York. It doesn't
Right.
happen in the movie. The statue is fully perfect in the movie. Anytime you see it,
Show
nothing
it a couple
happens.
times though.
Yeah, but they what ends up happening is J.J. Abrams, a young J.J. Abrams, actually got to see an early screening of the movie, and actually influenced it in a way too, and then took influence from it.
Cloverfield.
Yeah, for Cloverfield, it was the influence. He was like, you know what, I was always influenced by that, and I wanted to have that Statue of Liberty head in the street, and so you have that moment in the trailer and in the movie itself where
It's
the
such a
head.
good moment
Oh,
too.
it's such
It's
a
a
good
really
moment.
strong one. It's really
Yeah.
good.
But he also, because he was in that screening, there was a moment where the death of Maggie in the original cut was more, I guess, I don't feel it's ambiguous. She was kind of hit between two cars, so it kind
Yeah.
of feel like she's dead. But he, I guess, in that screening later on was like, hey, there was something like it's left up in the air whether she's dead or not. So Carpenter with Adrian Barbeau in their own garage film that
The
little
dead
bit of her
body.
being the dead body
Oh
underneath
my
the car.
gosh.
So, so,
Crazy.
so yeah. So weird that little J.J. Abrams happened to. I guess he was a teenager at the time. Happened to help influence the,
Really
the
cool.
making of that film. So
That's
uh,
really cool.
yeah. So and then like we said, took inspiration for Cloverfield, which he was a producer on.
I
Um,
love Cloverfield.
oh, Cloverfield's great. Um, but yeah, this movie's just a lot of fun. It's got so much going for it. I know we didn't talk a lot about it, but I feel like we talked enough about it. The characters are great in this. Like
Mhm.
Ernest Borgnine as Cabby in this.
Abby.
Um, It's so funny though too, because I'm sitting there watching it, and I just, because I have kids, and they're all grown now, but they grew up watching SpongeBob, and he played a character on SpongeBob. So every time he's talking in this movie, all I can think of him as is Mermaid Man. And I'm like, oh
Nice.
my God, it's so funny. So, and Donald Pleasance is the president, which is hilarious because he uses his British accent, and they never explain it, which was a thing that they talked about possibly explaining, but then they never ended up doing. They were like, just take too much out of the movie to try to explain it. So, but yeah, it's just a fun movie. Great bunch of actors in this, and just a lot of iconic imagery and a lot of iconic scenes. And you know, Kurt Russell, one of the most iconic. I mean, just his work with Carpenter in general is just like
Yeah,
he made the most iconic characters between this, McCready,
Jack.
and Jack and Big Trouble. So it just, I don't know, just they're a winning combo. I wish they'd done more together. I mean, they do Escape from LA again
Mhm.
later on, which is in itself a lot of fun.
It's underrated. I think
I
Escape
think
from
so. I
the
think so
underrated.
too. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it's like it's a lot more goofy than this one
It
is.
really is
It's a
campy
very
90s.
90s.
It's
Yeah,
very
it's a
camp.
yeah, it's a very 90s, and I think that actually works for it in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's what that it's a sequel. I don't think anybody new would be coming, but I think it's them at their most playful too.
It's fun.
They're
Yeah,
like,
it's
if we're
fun.
gonna
They're just
make a sequel to
fun.
this, we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So,
They totally, you can tell that they're having a lot of fun in
oh
that.
yeah,
I want to bring up the challenge in that movie that he has to pass at one point is making a long basketball shot, like
yeah,
an impossible basketball shot. And he made it. Kurt Russell
yeah.
like made it in like one of his like I want to say it was the first try.
Oh wow,
But
yeah.
yeah, like it's I think that's really neat that he actually took the shot and made it.
That's so funny. But yeah, no, this movie is a lot of fun. I will say that, like, so I watched it on my Scream Factory 4K disc, and I don't know how you watched it,
I watched it on my computer.
but I watched it like, so there was like a haziness. Like, I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed that, like around the edges, like, and sometimes even in the middle. Sometimes I just don't think that the existing film was of the greatest quality anymore when they
yeah.
did it. So I think that go when you do watch it, just know that going into that's just part of
A
the
little dark. It's
presentation.
it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's a little
dark at
dark in
times.
points. Yeah. Well, and I think what they did with that was they were using a lot more natural lighting. They actually, I did read that um, Dean Cundy, who was the cinematographer on this, he and was on with Carpenter for a few movies. He was using a new lens that was able to extract a lot more light than
Hmm.
was typical. Um, but yeah, so they were doing a lot more natural lighting in this movie. So yeah, that would account for why it was so dark compared to a lot of other movies of
Yeah.
the time period.
It's done
So,
really well though, because it's
oh
all
yeah,
like set during the it's real shady and
yeah,
everything is wet.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, but that's all I have
Okay.
to talk about this. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention?
No, I think we covered this movie really well. Like I said, I could talk about her all day long.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I could just go off. Like if you wanted me to continue talking about, Escape from LA, I could do that for an hour. Yeah, no, I'm good.
all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And I did want to
For
mention too,
having
because I didn't think about this until afterward, until we were talking about you yourself have been in a movie. Um,
me have.
yeah, you were in Xanadu Hellfire.
I
Um,
played, yeah, Xanadu Hellfire. I play a character named Valeria. I'm a
yeah,
barbarian that travels through a portal in time to modern day
yeah,
LA to fight children to get our princess's mystical powers back to our time. And yeah, Xanadu
yeah.
Hellfire. It's fun. Check it
It
out. It's
is.
on.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Yeah, I actually got it on. I have it on Blu-ray now. I got it when when
Yeah, you have
Justin.
the Suckerverse.
I
You
do.
have
I have the
nice.
Sucker First
That's
box set. Yep.
badass.
Yeah. And I just the other day I just backed his new movie that's coming
Yep.
out. So
Yeah, the director Justin Armeo has
yeah,
created basically a universe based on his character Bloodsucker Jones,
yeah,
and Bloodsucker Jones is in all these different movies. He was in Xanadu Hellfire. I One of my favorite scenes is with Bloodsucker Jones. I slap his face, and but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I've known Justin for years, and he approached me about it, and I felt like I had a lot of collaborative input on how that movie went, like story wise.
right.
Um, I wanted to have like buddies. Like there's always two characters. There's the sisters with the goons. There's two. There's the two girl best friends. Like it's all about sisterhood.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think I did a great job, and I'm really proud of it. Like
yeah,
I toot my own horn because I think a lot of love went into Xanadu Hellfire, and it's made by a bunch of nerds that just love that time of like the sword and sorcery silly movies. All the
yeah,
characters are on characters that have been in other like fantasy and sorcery and movies.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well, and I
it's a good.
think it fits really well with other movies of its type. Like I in my Letterbox review, I compared it to like Turbo Kid and
Yeah,
Psycho Gorman.
yep, totally.
Fits very much in that kind of kids in a kind of very adult universe
Mhm,
kind of thing. And I think it's really well done. Like so I because I got the Suckerverse, I finally watched all of. I was waiting until I could get them all.
mhm.
So I finally got them all and watched the first two Bloodsucker Jones movies, which I will say they're funny and they're good, but they're mostly just joke movies.
Yeah, they're
Um,
total joke movies.
they're like the stupidest, like barely like there's barely a plot there, and they're
Yeah,
mostly just held together by a series of jokes.
yeah.
Xanadu Hellfire is an actual movie with an
Yeah, we
actual
have more
plot.
plot. We have
Yeah.
more plot.
And that and Blue Murder are very much in that vein where they're very much just actual movies. It feels like
Yeah,
Justin kind of like found the correct voice now. And not
yeah,
to say that the Bloodsucker Jones movies are bad or anything like that, but they're just very jokey. They're not
yeah.
movies so much as just like fun like skits
It's like
strung together.
snippets and
Yeah.
bits. Yeah,
Um so I think that's what I really liked about Xanadu Hellfire was that it was like it's an actual movie,
yeah.
but it's still very fun, and has a lot
Still
of
real
fun.
fast paced and like disconjointed. A thing that happened when we were filming it was COVID was going on.
Oh yeah.
So we were supposed to film a lot more with the bad sister, the evil sister, but she got COVID and
Oh
couldn't
no.
shoot for an entire week that we were shooting. So
Yeah.
they rewrote the script and my character became a lot bigger. I had all these new lines and was like doing all this stuff and moving plot along. And yeah, she only and like so we were separated from her in the timeline too. She's by herself. We're in our own timeline, and then Xanadu's in another timeline because
Yeah.
of COVID and we couldn't work together.
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. No, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely was worth getting. Um,
I'm glad you liked it. A
yeah,
lot of love.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
My
And
debut role.
are you gonna do any
I was
more?
so serious. I want to. I had so much fun, man. I really want to. We are working on a sequel, Witches of the Wasteland.
Oh, cool.
So so a sequel to Xanadu is in the works, and like I gotta act again. It was too fun. I had a lot of
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So for anybody who hasn't checked that, definitely check it out. You said it's on Tubi right now.
fun on TV,
Um,
and I want to say it's on Apple TV too.
yeah, but definitely check out Justin Armeo has a Kickstarter up right now for I think it's called Mercy's Midnight
Where she's
Madness.
Midnight Madness.
And it's a redo of the second Bloodsucker Jones movie, where she kind of it's like a horror hosts it, and so they're actually apparently he's actually filmed new content for that movie as well, not just the frame stuff, but he's actually kind of restructuring Bloodsucker Jones and the Creeping Death, I think is what
Yeah,
it's called.
yeah.
And so it's supposed to be a whole new joint, which is really cool.
They're working on a tentacle movie right now too.
Yes, I
Something
just saw the announcement for that. Yeah, that's so
that
funny.
cracked me up.
And so yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, if you check out the Kickstarter, you can get the the second verse box, which is what I got with the last one with Blue Murder.
Like 4 or 5 movies.
Yeah, it'll be 5 movies with the new one. And it came with like stickers and all kinds of other
Yep.
fun
Yep.
stuff. So it was really cool. Definitely worth it. I love the box set. It's really cool. And it's even cheaper in this new one with the 5 movies and everything than it was when I bought it. So it's definitely people should be buying it because it's definitely a great value. If
And
you
he
like,
puts a lot of work into it. I think it's really a quality product, and
oh
it's
yeah,
the same crew of people through all the movies. They're all friends, it's a
yeah.
really all of his work is fun.
I've really been embracing like that like work like his and A&P films and stuff like
Hmm.
that. The people who really do this excuse me um these just homegrown, very independent, crowd-funded
Yeah,
movies and stuff
for
like that.
sure.
So it's a
Very,
lot
very,
of
very.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to just kind of be a part of that and to help bring some of that stuff to life. So
I felt honored for sure. Like I really did. It was
yeah.
very special and cool.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, it was really cool because I was just like, because I remember seeing you because that came out. You did that after you and I had met.
It
So
was
then
2022,
yeah,
23. Yeah.
and I think you and I met in 2018, 2019, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so so when you were posting about it, that's how I knew about it first time, and then I started following him. I think actually the funny thing is I think he followed me um before I followed him. I think based on, I don't know, my interactions with you or something. I don't even remember, on Instagram. And so then I was like, oh, I'll follow him and check out his stuff. And then but it was after but it was after Xanadu Hellfire came out. So then that's when I hooked into when Blue Murder was coming out. I was like, oh, I gotta, because I was wanting to watch them. But then I was like, well, I'm gonna wait and watch them until I get the Blue Murder stuff. And so,
Sweet.
but yeah, so long-winded thing, but yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. They're very cheesy, very silly. I would highly recommend them, even though, like I said, the Bloodsucker movies themselves are kind of just,
They're still fun. I
they're
think they're
still fun for what they are.
still
Yeah,
well
just know that
done.
going
Yeah.
into it, that they're not really heavy on the stories.
Like if you're a fan of the Fat Boys, like comedy like the Fat Boys, you'll like the Just.
That's funny. But yeah, no, but yeah, this is great. I'm so glad to get you on the show finally.
Yeah,
And
thank you. I had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
yeah, um, and I'll definitely have to get you on again for something else in the future.
I would love that.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you let people know where they can find you online?
Online it's just atomiccotton.com, and that's our name on all the various websites. We're mostly on Instagram and Facebook, and we do a lot of conventions. We do Horror Hound and Texas Flashback and Flashback Weekend in Chicago. And yeah, I think that's all we have set up for this year. But we're from Kansas. We're always doing events in Kansas City and thereabouts. And
Cool.
we make a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go check out their stuff. Erica makes lots of cool artwork, and it
I
has,
try.
yeah, no, it's really cool. I dig it. So, all right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.